Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 Paws and Claws run. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're playing another character with fun interactions with the pets, the Cyborg. I think the Cyborg is really weird with the pets, and that's kind of appealing to me. Because in the first half of the wave, the cats will be really good because we get a ton of range damage. And then in the second half of the wave, the bots will be really good because we get a ton of engineering. But each of them will mostly become useless when they're not in the right half of the wave. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to use screwdrivers. I think that this is generally the easiest weapon for Cyborg because it scales off your engineering, so you'll still have damage from your actual weapons in the second half when your range damage all converts. But of course we're going to be looking for pets as much as possible. The rats will also be pretty good for us, because of course they scale with your HP, so it doesn't matter what part of the Cyborg's cycle you're in. We'll take 5 harvesting to start with, and then I'm going to definitely pick up the landmines, and I guess we'll get the Peaceful Bee as well. The Cyborg doesn't have melee or elemental scaling, so we're not losing any melee damage. Oh, no, wait, we can't buy Peaceful Bee. What am I talking about? We can't lose ranged damage on this character, because that's how the Cyborg works. Almost really ruined everything for us there. Gave you all a heart attack, I'm sure. Let's roll, and we'll roll again. I'm looking for more screwdrivers. We'll take another one. I'll also take, if we see an SMG or something, I usually like to have 2 fast-firing ranged weapons, and then 4 engineering weapons. So we'll pick up this SMG. We'll replace it later on if we get another minigun or something, but the submachine gun will help us do damage in the first half of the wave. And you really only need 2 of them because any bonus range damage that we get is going to be so powerful for these fast-firing weapons. Here, we're going to roll. And you can't effectively buy engineering on this character. You only buy it at 1/4 the normal rate, so you don't usually want to pick up engineering. So we're going to roll again. And I'm going to take 1 range damage here because that gets multiplied by 2.5 when you're playing the Cyborg. Although the harvesting is really nice, I wanted some more ranged damage so that we can clear this next wave a little more safely. We'll lock this SMG to level up our current one. Though I will want to have more screwdrivers than submachine guns, but I'm just going to go ahead and buy the lumberjack shirt here. I could roll to try to lock an SMG, but we already have a weapon locked, so or to try to lock a screwdriver, but we already have a weapon locked, so might as well just spend my money and get another open slot to find more stuff later. We should still be able to kill the Gobbler even after it upgrades. I put a little bit of damage on it at the start here, so I'm going to let it eat some materials and we'll try to multiply them. Though, as it gets closer to the end of the wave, I got a little paranoid and decided to finish it off there. Here, I'm going to re-roll, and I'll take 5 harvesting, and then we could buy basically 1 engineering here, but that's not worth it, so let's roll. I'll pick up 2 lifesteal. Obviously, we're going to want lifesteal when we're using miniguns and submachine guns as a big chunk of our weapon set. And then we'll buy all of these. I'm also saving my bands for level 2 items so that we can find pets more easily. We will, in fact, ban this coral. And then we'll roll again. Rolling again here. I haven't seen any more screwdrivers, which is a little unfortunate, but we will lock all of these items. Screwdrivers are pretty important to get 4 of because the harder part of the wave for the Cyborg is the engineering half. The ranged half, the minigun just carries you very, very easily. Even a little bit of ranged damage will be plenty. But during the engineering half, sometimes your damage can start falling behind. So you want to have more engineering weapons so that you're a little safer during the more dangerous portion of the wave. Here, we'll take 2 more range damage, and then I'm going to pick up 10 attack speed. We want a little bit of an attack speed buff because of the animation thing with submachine guns. We'll buy the coupon, buy SMGs, buy Baby Gecko. If you're not aware, there's an animation issue, bug, whatever, with SMGs where the first point of attack speed changes their animation so much that you get like 20% damage increase. The book here, I could ban it for a free reroll. I could buy it for a cheap reroll and a quarter of an engineering. I think I'm just going to buy it. It's so cheap that I think it's worth doing that. And then here, I will lock this Scar. I could sell the SMG to get a 4th screwdriver, or I could wait to try to upgrade this. But I don't really want to stick with these submachine guns super long term, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my weapon set to where I want it, and then we'll roll again. And nice, we got this Ratzilla. I'm regretting not banning Peaceful Bee, because it keeps showing up. We'll definitely buy Feather. And the Ratzilla will help us do damage, especially in the second half of the wave, when normally we would be relying on our engineering to do that. So, first pet acquired. Definitely want to kill the curse aliens during the ranged damage portion. There we go. We have a baby gecko, but I would like more extra material pickup if possible. I'm gonna run over here and make sure to actually use the damage from our screwdrivers, the melee damage that they do. Let's go ahead and re-roll this, and I could take 8% damage. That'll scale our pets and my weapon damage, so it's reasonably effective. I think I will just grab that. We'll buy a Scar, Ratzilla, and Feather, and then we'll roll again. Obliterator is an interesting item for this character as well, but killing elites is just not something that we usually have a problem with. So I think I'm going to avoid the Obliterator, and I'm also going to... I'll take the small fish. Because we're building pets and everything, losing attack speed is a little painful, but this applies to our pets and our turrets and all of that stuff pretty well. So it should be pretty good there. And then we'll roll, we'll upgrade our screwdrivers finally, and go to the next wave. So the reason we're not buying Obliterator there, even though it's a very early Obliterator, is it's very expensive. It's pretty bad at wave clear. And you really want fast-firing ranged weapons on this character so that you can use them to lifesteal during the engineering phase, and so that you apply the multiplied ranged damage better. While Obliterator does have super high damage scaling, it doesn't hit things most of the time, so it's mostly for if your build is having trouble killing elites, which our build won't be, because our upfront damage with our minigun and having bought some range damage will be really high, so we won't have a problem killing elites most of the time. I'm going to take 9 HP here, because we definitely need more HP. We will buy the small fish and screwdriver. I'm going to ban the cyber ball. This is just not really part of our plan, and it's a level 2 item, so we can ban it and find more pets, potentially. We'll take some more ranged damage here, very powerful there, and we'll buy a turret. I also have negative move speed, so even though it's very painful to buy Terrified Onion and go to negative luck, playing at negative move speed, especially when pets are going to be a pretty big part of our plan, is not something you want to do. Gonna make sure to kill as many healers as possible and the walrus again before we swap over to the engineering portion, because once we're in the engineering portion, those high health enemies become a lot more dangerous since we have to fight them in melee and our weapons do a little less damage. I would love piercing shot. That would be really good for our turrets. Obviously, Pocket Factory, a very powerful and synergistic item here. But mostly I'm looking for the Catling guns and bottom mines, if we can find those. Yeah, I'll take a medical turret. I will re-roll here, and we'll take 2 armor, because my armor's quite low currently. I have 29 max HP. I do have a speed item locked in the shop, so I think I'm just going to take 15 luck here. We'll upgrade our SMGs, we'll buy the Terrified Onion, we'll roll, we'll buy Whistle. I need the mutation for extra range damage, we'll buy the Butterfly as well, because lifesteal, very powerful, and Mouse and Feather, both excellent finds for us. I'd still love to ban a few more level 2 items, and I'm still looking to find more pets. But the rat's actually doing pretty well for us. Just the rat on its own is doing some pretty reasonable wave clear. It's mostly killing the small enemies, but the fact that it works in conjunction with all of our structures, which we have on the field, means that it's putting out a decent amount of damage. Oops, took a few hits there, but between our medical turret, lifesteal, and natural consumable healing, we should be able to heal back up really quickly. Bag, obviously an awesome find. I'm going to take 6 more move speed, I think. The ranged damage also super tempting, but we were at only 1% move speed, so I definitely wanted to fix that. Getting the bag and the mouse, that's a massive increase to our economy, so we're very happy there. We'll buy the spicy sauce just to remove a level 2 from the pool, but also, because if we get 2 of them, then we can't roll it again. But also, we do need the HP, and then we'll roll, we'll lock another screwdriver, and go to wave 9 here. Have ended up with pretty low harvesting. And normally we would be getting a decent amount of income just from harvesting. I would love also to get some crate drops to go with our new bag. But my luck is fairly low. We ended up picking up a 15 luck level up from our level 10. Because my luck was always going to be really poor. A little more attack speed would be nice as well. Our screwdrivers really need it, even though it's not that important to the minigun or the submachine gun, now that we have a positive number. Yeah, I'll take 15 luck over 12% damage here. More luck is really important, and then we're going to take 2 ranged damage as well. We don't need the level 2 SMG. We'll keep leveling our screwdrivers. We'll buy a spicy sauce. We'll roll here. I don't currently have a way to set enemies on fire, so I don't think I'm that interested in the Greek fire. Also, again, this is mostly for elites and bosses, which this character just shouldn't have a problem killing. So we're going to pass on those. We'll roll here. Finally got a pet, so we got the Catling gun, and this one should help a lot in the first half of the wave. I will also buy the saltwater, I think. This is basically spending 100 on banning a level 2 item, but it does get it out of the pool for us. And then, yeah, we'll buy all these level 2 uniques. So our cat should also make it much easier to kill elites, because during the first half of the wave, it will do a lot of damage for us. Right now, I'm not worried about activating it or anything. I'm mostly worried about getting as much clear speed as we can during the easy portion of the wave and killing things like that loot alien as it spawns. And then also picking up materials while it's easy to do so. Because it becomes harder to once our damage gets a little bit less reliable in the engineering part. 2 loot alien spawns is great, though, and you can see, because we still do have a lot of engineering, our screwdrivers do kill things really fast. We got 3 crates this wave, that's great. I do need some more lifesteal. You can see that we are falling a little bit behind in terms of our healing. But everything else is going amazingly. Also, small magazine, maybe the single best item we could find, as it almost always is for any ranged damage build. We'll take a medical turret here. I'm going to recycle the statue. I don't intend to stand still that often. Crit chance is okay for us. It works fine with our pets, and it works with our weapons, but I think I just want the 6 max HP. My max HP is pretty bad. Here, I could roll for other stats. I have 10 or 9 lifesteal, so a little more lifesteal would be good. More armor would be good, or I could just take 15 attack speed. Let's just do that. Going up to 25 attack speed is a pretty big deal, especially going into this horde wave. We have a bunch of structures already, and engineering that we buy off of the lighthouse is going to be quartered because we're the cyborg, so our engineering modifiers will be reduced by 75%. So lighthouse is just not that good, but we'll buy alien magic here, and of course any ranged damage that we see. I'll buy the submachine gun and clockwork wasp and lost duck, and we'll do a reroll and go to the horde wave. Not having piercing shots does make it a little harder on the horde wave, but we've got minigun, which has piercing natively. And part of the reason I like screwdrivers for this run is that in the second and more dangerous half of any horde waves that might spawn, you have a weapon that's very good for it, because screwdrivers are actually quite good for horde waves. The landmines are relevant at killing stuff, and the screwdrivers themselves are pretty good at keeping you alive just by killing anything that gets too close. And otherwise, hordes can be somewhat challenging for this character if you don't have a good weapon set for it in the engineering portion of the wave. With a wrench build, unless you get specific levels of turrets, you can end up in a little more trouble during horde waves. Okay, we got a loot alien. I'm not going to be able to kill it, though. I couldn't run to it. Here I'll take 3 more lifesteal, and then, although we're mostly a lifesteal build, when you get fairy like this, we're still going to pick it up. We'll buy the clockwork wasp as well. Structure attack speed is amazing for this character. Oh, I failed to buy the submachine gun before re-rolling. Unlucky there. Particle accelerator actually will work for us. It scales with our engineering, so I'm going to take the particle accelerator. We'll replace one of the screwdrivers with it, and that'll be a really nice weapon for the second half of waves. And then we'll roll again. Eye surgery, we can't use the elemental damage. Faster burning is pretty good for the particle accelerator. Do I want the eye surgery? I think it's not worth it, even with the particle accelerator. We're just going to worry about the initial damage from this, and the burning only scales with elemental, so I'm just going to ban the eye surgery here. I could have locked it to try to get a free reroll by banning, but I didn't think we would have enough money to buy all 3 of the other items we have locked, so it didn't seem worth it. And maybe if we do have enough money, we'll roll into something that we want to ban anyways. And again, we're just banning level 2 items because I want pet to show up more reliably, since we're trying to test out how pets work with this character. The cat is really good, but I'm really interested in the bots. If we could get the bots to show up more regularly, that would be really strong, I think. There was a curse alien, but it looks like it died. I think my rat got it, actually. I didn't see where it died. Even though this only gives us 2.5 engineering, the XP gain, of course, is awesome. So we'll take the diploma here. We're recycling Peaceful Bee. I've really gotten ruined by not banning Peaceful Bee at the beginning. Here I'll take 3 armor, because my armor, of course, is very poor. We'll combine here and buy Particle Accelerator and Helmet and Snail, and then I'm going to ban the Acid. I don't need the max HP, and I do want a free reroll. Boxing Glove gives us a regen, and the knockback is pretty good on this character, so I will buy it. And then I'll roll again, and then we'll lock these 2 as well. So the Particle Accelerator isn't going to do anything in the early stage of the wave, but during the second half of the wave, it will scale off our engineering, which will be really high, so it should just be one-tapping things. And even the base damage from it is pretty good. It's still doing quite a bit, even at this point. I do think we're killing everything a little too fast for our cat to, like, get to do anything. So how much damage does the Particle Accelerator do when it's scaled? 140 in the second half of the wave? That's pretty good for a 100% piercing weapon. Not like the most ridiculous amount of damage, but it's a nice addition to our screwdrivers setup for damage in the engineering phase. Plus, every time it fires, since it's going to hit so many things, we're almost always going to lifesteal, which is kind of nice. So we do have an elite next wave. I think that that's fine. I can take the bait anyways, and my percent damage was pretty poor, was negative, so I did want to fix that. I am going to re-roll this, and we'll take 12% more damage here. I definitely can't buy celery tea, so I will pass on that, and in fact, I'm just going to ban it. Doubling enemy health is super dangerous, and we don't want to buy it going into an elite wave. Another particle accelerator is a nice one, though, and we'll take a turret. I'll re-roll here. We'll take cake, and we have 4 different weapons, so we get 4 HP and a regen off the jelly. And then we'll roll again, and Alaka screwdriver. Insanity is worth buying when it gives us a regeneration as well, so we'll pick that up. Alright, so I do need to back off a little bit and kill the bait aliens, and then we'll focus our ranged damage on killing the elite here. Where did my cat go? It's off at the top left corner here, so I'm going to run over to it and enrage the cat, and then it should be able to help us kill the elite much faster as well by doing ranged damage. So usually you would be able to kill the elite before switching to the second stage. Because I've built a few non-standard items on this character, we did take a little bit longer, but like we spent a bunch of money on particle accelerator, for example, which doesn't normally help with the elite fight. But we were able to easily survive and still kill it during the engineering phase because we had all that extra damage. Oop, loot alien. I love the audio cue for those. It's so nice getting that when they spawn right at the end of the wave. Kraken's Eye, amazing. Does cost me some regen, but we don't care about that. The HP is great, and 10 curse is awesome. I'll take the baby squid as well. We'll get a few more levels, so we can end up with quite a lot of regeneration. And then here, I think I need a little more ranged damage, so although I do want the armor, I'm going to roll and take 3 ranged damage. And then we'll buy an accelerator, buy these 2 items, and do a free reroll. Improved tools, great. These others are a little bit too late or too expensive. So I don't need another baby squid at this point, so I'm just going to ban it, and we'll roll. We'll take ranged damage here. Decomposing flesh is pretty good for us as well. Lifesteal is better than regen, so we're going to pick that up. Lifesteal is better than regen for this character. Though, honestly, we could have skipped the decomposing flesh as well and just looked for more pets at this point, because my healing is really good since we found Fairy, and we also have a bunch of regeneration already. So I might end up just banning the decomposing flesh instead, since I do want to test the pets on this character, and I'm really hoping to find a bot. I will say that the cat is not as impressive as I was hoping for. It does scale with our ranged damage, but our ranged damage on the Cyborg is already so high in the beginning of waves that the cat just doesn't have time to shoot things before we kill them with our actual weapons. Take the missile here and helmet, and then I guess more attack speed is good. I think I will ban the decomposing flesh. We're going to get a free reroll by doing this as well. And so I'll buy all of these and I'll roll. Take a clockwork wasp for sure. Tyler scales with engineering in the second half of waves, so we'll go ahead and lock that. And then, do I want the defective steroids? I don't think so. Let's roll again. Okay, well, I'll buy the Excalibur. It's going to give me minus 18 armor, but, you know, I'm not going to pass on a super cool legendary like that when it shows up. Let's go ahead and ban Blood Leech, and then we'll roll one more time. And yeah, I'll take Seashell as well. That works with all my ranged weapons. Sadly, it doesn't work with turrets, or pets, but it does work with our ranged weapons. So now I'm going to have to fix my armor, because the Excalibur is going to be really dangerous. But since we're running into melee in the second half of waves, even though it scales with melee damage, which we can't build, the base damage on Excalibur is so high. That it's still going to be really good for killing elites and bosses, assuming I can get the armor to survive when we take all the negative armor penalties from it. So this has ended up being more of an Excalibur run. Let's see, trying to finish off these curse aliens. It's a little more difficult, too, on the Cyborg because we have to get them with our melee attacks. Though I think our turrets killed a couple for us. Ball and chain, obviously we don't want, so we're recycling that. We'll take some more range damage, and then 2 armor to offset the armor loss from Excalibur, which I'm just going to go ahead and buy now. We'll sell this sell the screwdriver, buy the Excalibur, and then I'm going to pass on Scar. It's a little too late for that to be good. We'll roll a couple more times. I don't really care about capping my move speed, but this item doesn't really matter that much, so I think we'll pass on it. Okay, so I have -6 armor. That means that we are taking, I don't even know how much that is. Yeah, 30% more damage from every enemy, 30% more than the base. So we went from taking about half the base damage of enemy attacks to taking 30% more. So the incoming damage has more than doubled by reducing our armor by that much. I think it's like almost tripled. So if I take a hit, it probably does 30 or so. We do have enough max HP that's not going to be instantly lethal or anything, but we're definitely in more danger. Excuse me. Obviously want to kill the curse aliens where possible. I would love to get some powerful cursed items. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that cursed anglerfish dealt more than half my health, I think. We'll take the scope here, and then 16% damage, or do I need to roll for armor? I think I have to roll for just an armor upgrade. I'll roll again and again. Alright, I missed a bunch of times. I can't take anything from this. Okay, it was worth it, because we got the 3 armor. Another particle accelerator, that's pretty fun, but let's buy the seashell first. That's going to help the most against the boss. I'll take the bait as well, and then we'll roll, and I guess I'll buy coupon, and we'll roll one more time. I don't need the move speed, so I'll pass on the compass. So, obviously have to back off a little bit, and let the bait aliens die, then we'll run over and give our cat the finishing blow there. Seashell with particle accelerator is always super fun, because it multiplies the beams, of course. And now that we've got these split beams, the engineering phase of the wave is actually pretty good for us, because the particle accelerator just does so much damage with the seashell and everything. The amount of damage we're taking is still very high, though. I have almost no crit chance, so I'm just going to pass on the Giant's Belt. We could take it, but it's just not that exciting. I'll take range damage, though, take some move speed, and then I'm going to take 4 armor, get back to positive armor. We'll go ahead and recycle our screwdriver here, and buy the particle accelerator. We'll buy the Tyler. I'll do a reroll. And then at this point, I think I'm just rolling for pets, because I do want to see if we can get a bottom line or anything, and we're more than strong enough to win the run, so we're just going to use our money to roll for pets. Not finding an upgraded minigun or anything like that is a little sad on this character. Of course, a level 4 minigun is a big boost to your initial damage. But the level 4 SMG, you do not need to find a minigun to win with the Cyborg. I think you'll often see people mention that the way that they play this character is to roll for an early minigun and then restart if they don't find it. Super unnecessary to do that. This character is really strong on its own. Once you understand how the mechanics work and just buy a lot of ranged damage and are comfortable switching between being a ranged character and a melee character during the middle of the wave, this is a very powerful character. Sure, I'll take the tardigrade when it shows up for 36 like that. I'll take some extra move speed, and then I could take all these structures, but I'm going to roll for a bottom mine if we can find one, or a Catling gun. Catling gun, also great. More piercing shots would be nice as well, so let's take the eye patch here. Gobbler's hat we don't need because it's the end of the run. Let's roll. An explosive turret is a pretty nice find, but again, I think I just want to roll for pets. So we're gonna re-roll. We'll take the loot worm, that's a pet. And then we'll re-roll again and again. And we didn't find anything super exciting, so let's roll one more time. Bottom mines were kind of hard to find. I think they might not have I'm completely guessing here. I don't know if anyone has checked this or not. But just from what I've seen, they've been hard to find on engineering builds, and I wonder if they don't have the structure tag. The Cyborg is more likely to find structure items in the shop, but if the bottom mine is missing that tag, then that might explain why we had a hard time finding it. But we got double cats, so the cats should enable us to kill the bosses a lot faster. Once this guy gets close, the cats will just start ripping into it with our extra ranged damage. They also give us a lot of lifesteal, so they're still pretty relevant even in the second half of waves. Alright, I need to back off a bit, because our armor is still terrible. So I could easily still die here if I'm not careful. The Excalibur obviously was just awful in this run, but it's so much fun to buy legendary weapons that we're going to do it anyways. It only dealt 8,000 damage in the last wave, more than the particle accelerator, but obviously the hero of the run is going to be the minigun and the submachine gun. All right, taking a look at our items here, we got 324 on the coupon, so pretty good savings there. Ratzilla dealt 12k damage. That's low, but it's very cheap early, and it's kind of deceptive, I think, to just look at the damage for this and compare it to like a baby elephant or something like that, which will often deal 50,000 damage. Because the Ratzilla actually kills things. It keeps dealing damage to something until that thing dies. And so it actually improves your clear speed rather than dealing damage kind of irrelevantly the way some of the random damage items do. 60k damage on our turrets, 32k on the Catling guns, and a lot of that I think was the last wave. So these definitely didn't perform as well as I had hoped they would. I think that the Cyborg is really interesting with pets. I don't think that they're necessary. I think you're going to end up building mostly as a normal Cyborg build, but it's something I definitely wanted to test out, so it's interesting to learn that. We got not quite 300 on the bag. Anything else here? Nothing from Piggy Bank, but we just bought that to make pets more likely to show up. And Dangerous Bunny, good savings there. The Loot Worm gave us 12 materials in the last wave, which is pretty nice as well. And then I did my level best to die against the bosses. My lifesteal was a little lower than I was thinking it was, so we didn't heal quite as fast as I was expecting, was part of what happened there. But we survived and got the win, so still pretty pleased. All right, my friends, hope that you enjoyed this run. And of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.